Here we go, episode 24,
Yes.
24,
24.
Revelations podcast. We own a gym and do some things with some other stuff. We're Sean and Danny.
Yep. And currently 36 weeks pregnant. with
There
our
we go.
First baby.
Today we're going to talk about cardio versus strength training for fat loss.
I gotta take my earrings out.
So a little bit of background as a so let's kind of like I've been doing personal training coming up on 15 years. Right? So that's a considerable amount of time watching people do cardio and strength training and combinations of both and having progress and not having progress, right? You've been nutrition coaching people for how many years?
8.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
7.
Long
8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming up on,
Yeah.
I got my nutrition cert in 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you've been helping people with fat loss.
Yeah. Body composition.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so there's that piece.
Yes.
There's those years of experience.
Yes.
Right. There's also a little bit of years of education, multiple certifications, and then there's me reading over studies and seeing people give summaries of studies, and seeing people on the internet take those information from studies and not representing that data appropriately.
Yes.
Okay. I
And
think
we've also done a lot of studies like on our own.
yeah, we've experimented with all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And here's where I think I know that this conversation has happened over and over and over again. The cardio versus strength training
For fat loss.
for fat loss.
Okay.
But I think what's starting to happen now with this rise of hybrid athlete, rise of high rocks, rise of like more and more boutique gyms is this combination of like doing them both all at the same time, especially the sport of high rocks, which is really, it's kind of like, it's the more condensed modern version of obstacle course racing that got so popular a long time ago.
Right.
And it's also kind of on the on the tail of like CrossFit competitions being pretty popularized and pretty normal there for a while.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like
Yeah.
the next like fitnessy thing that's like the 5K, 10K running distance, but there's stuff you do.
Yeah. It's
Right.
yeah. I mean, I hate to say, but it feels very like just trendy.
Yeah, and it's trendy, but not from a trendy standpoint of like this isn't a good thing trendy. It's just kind of like this is like the next wave of where people are putting their fitness energy.
Yeah.
And it's also, we're in almost probably the largest, youngest generation of people who care about their fitness.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And so this high rocks hybrid thing is super, super popular.
Mm-hmm.
And this hybrid athlete
Mm-hmm.
is super, super popular.
Yeah.
Now, as another reference, hybrid athlete, however you want to take that, we own a strength training gym,
Mm-hmm.
and we have also done ultra distance hiking, cardio, running over mountains things.
While we were lifting.
Yeah.
So
So
at the same time.
depending on what you call hybrid,
Right.
we have those repetitions.
Yes.
Right. We have trained for strength things very specifically. We have trained for condition things very specifically, and we've done them concurrently
Yes.
at the same time.
Yes.
So let's get into the fat loss conversation first.
Okay.
Okay. There's a study that's been floating around for a while and some summaries of it where they basically said, okay, you've got Group A doing nothing, Group B doing strength training, Group B doing cardio,
Mm-hmm.
and then Group C doing both.
Okay.
Right? And basically, the study, when you look at the very first of the like top of it, it says, summary overview, the greatest results from fat loss and muscle retention or muscle gain came from the group that was doing both.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes you think, well, if I do both, I'm going to have the greatest results.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So if someone were to say, yeah, it shows in studies that if you combine resistance training and cardio, you're going to have the greatest fat loss effects.
Yes.
Okay, now let's back up.
Okay.
If you read the study, it doesn't say doing them at the exact same time. What it says is that there's the combination of when you add 3 days a week of strength training compared to 3 days a week of cardio compared to 6 days a week of both,
Okay.
you have the greatest results.
Okay.
So are the greatest results coming from a frequency in movement or the combination of cardio and resistance training?
Mm-hmm.
This is where things get weird. Because you can take the idea and now, well, that's not really what's happening. Their increase in fat loss did not happen because they were combining them together at the same time.
Right.
Their best results because they were utilizing their entire week with both things.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Okay, there's been other studies where you go straight against weight loss, cardio versus strength training.
Yes.
Okay, and you see superior results with weight loss with cardio. Right?
Yes.
Okay, but then if you look again deeper into the data,
Mm-hmm.
what type of weight are we losing? So if you say yes, if you have a purely cardio-driven, let's say assume that both. Now we're going to talk about calories yet, but
Okay.
these studies were also done with controlled calorie intake for both groups.
Okay.
So they both ate blank 2,000 calories. One group did cardio, one did strength training. The cardio group lost more weight.
Okay.
Okay, they also lost more total weight,
Okay.
which meant they lost muscle mass
Mm-hmm.
and fat loss
Okay.
compared to the strength training group that lost less total fat but
Mm-hmm.
retained or gained more muscle mass.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So then you take the same idea. Well, is cardio best for weight loss? Technically, yes. But is your goal weight loss or is the goal fat loss?
Right.
Right. Okay. And then of all the people that you've trained for fat loss,
Mm-hmm.
how much of a difference have you implemented exercise routine to create a greater fat loss effect?
Ooh,
This is a trick question, guys,
it is a trick question.
because she hasn't.
No.
Because that's not the tool you use to change those results.
No.
Right. She doesn't change the workout routine to increase fat loss. She doesn't lean into one style of training more than the other one to increase fat loss.
Right.
Right. No.
Yeah. Now there's always suggestions on daily movement, which is steps.
Right. Which is different.
Which is different.
Which is
Yes,
different.
Right.
Which
That's
is
why.
different.
That's why I was like, this is a trick question.
Yeah, it's a
Right,
trick
right,
question.
right.
It's a trick
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
And I think what I really wanted to get out of this cardio versus strength training is to zoom out and look at the entire picture. And it's not one versus the other.
Right.
It's what value do I get out of them?
Mm-hmm.
How do I pair them together or not pair them together for my
Mhm.
results?
Mhm.
And instead of thinking, oh, well, if I just do a bunch of cardio and a bunch of high intensity in training,
Right.
that I'm going to get greater fat loss results. Because it's not true.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I recently saw someone post that. And like, if you combine them both at the same time, they used a bunch of fake words that like didn't make any sense. There's stuff they made up. It wasn't real like exercise terminology. And they're like, if you feel stuck, in your weight loss journey, and you've been doing blank and blank, have you ever tried pairing them together? Studies show. And they were referencing the study of the people increasing the frequency of movement, not that they were doing it at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And when it comes to fat loss
Mhm.
and each one of them together at the same time, well, I think, well, if I'm doing cardio and I'm lifting weights, which we have another podcast about, episode
Yeah.
like 9 or something, the difference between lifting weights and strength training.
Yes.
Okay. If you're moving weights through space,
Mm-hmm.
but you're doing it from a cardio effect, a
Mhm.
breathlessness, sweaty effect,
Yes.
you're not really weight training. You're not doing resistance training from like progressive overload, heavy strength training.
Right.
You're just doing a different variation of cardio.
Right.
Now, we're not hating on any of these variations of exercise. We just want to be clear that those don't lead to greater results.
Right.
Right. You can pick any path you want.
Mm-hmm.
And once you pick that path and you're consistent with it,
Mm-hmm.
it's now the application, nutrition, daily movement, sleep,
Yep.
stress, water, hormones.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, because I would argue that, like, picking a half marathon
Mhm.
training
Mhm.
to lose weight is
Mhm.
like the worst idea.
The worst idea. Right.
Which you would think, like, oh, I'm going to be running 4 days a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great fat loss
That's-
strategy.
Yeah. And
But
that's
it's not.
the easiest, most common ever. I mean, I've been hearing that for a decade.
Yeah.
I'm going to start running to lose weight.
Right.
And it never works.
No, I've tried it before.
It does not work.
It doesn't work.
No, and this is, I mean, this is going to sound awful, but if you go to a fairly popular half marathon race and you look at the 1,000 of people running the race, you're only going to see 10% of them that are at an ideal or low body fat percentage. It's not like, 100% of people who run are thin.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just something about doing cardio,
Mm-hmm.
running
Mhm.
specifically, that afterwards you feel like
Yeah.
you've done so
Right.
much.
Right. And someone will say, you've like 2 times you've doubled your metabolism
Right.
when you're super hungry like
Mhm.
that. And that's not how it works.
Mhm.
You've doubled your hunger cues and your
Yes.
hunger
Yep.
hormones, but you actually haven't sped up your metabolism, which is why when most people start running, unless it's the very first time ever, they actually overeat. Because if you run for an hour and you burn 600 calories, but your hunger is like skyrocket all day long, you're going to overconsume that 600 calories easy without a lot of discipline.
Yeah. It's very hard to
Very
stay in a
hard.
calorie deficit while you have a running goal.
Yeah, very hard. And I think when
So
you
if your goal is fat loss, then
yeah, we do a bunch of in-body data all the time, so we
Mhm.
can like know, and we do that with all our students.
Mhm.
But when you train for that full marathon,
Mm-hmm.
you were in a calorie deficit.
Mm-hmm.
You were trying to get as much resistance training in as possible at
Yep.
a minimal effective dose, a couple days a week.
Yep.
But you're running 3 or 4 days a week,
Yep.
right? The scale kept going down,
And I kept losing my muscle.
and you kept losing muscle. Your actual body fat percentage
Was higher.
was higher at the end of training, even though your body weight was lower.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I didn't look how I wanted to look at the end
No.
of that.
Your effect on gravity had changed.
Yep.
But your ratio of muscle mass to body fat had actually decreased and
Yep.
declined from that.
Yep.
Now, what would be the positive, though?
From running?
Yeah, you get better at the ability to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
Your resting heart rate
Yeah.
would increase. Your
And,
blood
like-
pressure decreases. Like all the good things about cardio.
yeah, I was very conditioned.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, as we're talking about this and we're like cardio and running and all of these things, like, we love to do cardio. Like,
Yeah,
it is
right.
really good for us.
Right.
It's I think everyone should do cardio.
Yeah.
It's thinking
Yes.
that doing the cardio is the
Right.
fat loss answer,
Right. Right.
because you'll just spin your wheels and
Yeah.
feel super frustrated.
Yeah. So, cardio versus strength training for fat loss, surprising answer. It's cardio and strength training for better everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you find that recipe of the two things you like, it's how do you manage the other side of the equation to create a result.
Yep.
It's not one or the other,
Yep.
or the fact that you do both of them. I do think that there's probably the best overall results
Mm-hmm.
from all results. So from the ability to get stronger, the ability to decrease bone density, the ability to decrease muscle mass, the ability to decrease your functional strength,
Mhm.
the ability to decrease your resting heart rate.
Yep.
I mean, and increase your VO2 max, all these things,
Mhm.
blood pressure, all these things that are benefits of strength training and benefits of cardio. You can still get all the benefits from those things by combining them too.
Yep.
So why wouldn't you want to do both?
Right.
Right?
Yep.
We run a strength training gym. And it's not that we're anti-cardio. It's just that our purpose of the gym is to solve the pain point of strength training.
Right.
We don't want to spend every day in our studio trying to solve the pain point of cardio
Condition.
and muscle and strength training and because then
Yeah.
you're trying to do 6 things every single time you come in, and you're only going to get marginally better at any of them.
You don't get really good at like one.
Right. You can never improve one thing than the other one.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of this hybrid strength and conditioning world
Mhm.
with most group fitness, I think it's 2 parts. I think it's one, people who run those models, they know they have to have cardio in there to keep the people entertained
Mm-hmm.
because that's what people think they want.
They want to die at the end of the
Right.
session.
And if that's you, great.
Right.
But I think the other part of it is like, well, we want to see people measurably get stronger.
Right.
So we're going to spend multiple days of the week
Mhm.
doing 0 cardio.
Right.
Because the other part is the interference effect, which is a training principle.
Okay.
So there's many training principles, and the SAID principle, the overload, all the things, right? Interference effect is one type of training method combined with another one, pulls away from each one.
Okay.
Okay, so if you think about, I want benefits from conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
I want benefits from strength training.
Okay.
You say, well, if I do both all the time, I'm going to get benefits from both.
Mm-hmm.
The interference effect is that you actually, when you combine them two at the same time with minimal rest, I'll get into rest times in a second, is that you're actually pulling back the positive adaptations from each.
Okay.
Okay, so if you think, well, let's just say that you have a 45-minute conditioning session.
Okay.
And you have a 45-minute strength training session.
Okay.
If you did 90 minutes back to back of both,
Mm-hmm.
right? Roughly, this is not real hard numbers, but let's just say now instead of having 100% results from conditioning, 100% results from strength training, I'm getting 70% results from conditioning, 70% from strength.
Sure.
If I have a 90-minute session. Now, I can do them both because there's lots of reasons why I would do both.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about in a second. But if I wanted to get the absolute most out of either one of them, I need to have them separated with the biggest gap possible.
Mm-hmm.
That biggest gap is going to be, ding, 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 anyone? As long as possible.
Like how long? 6 hours?
6 hours would probably be on the minimum.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Like at least 6 hours. Like if you have to do it 2 a day for whatever
Yep.
reason, 6 hours.
Yeah, 6 hours would be the minimum
Yep.
to really still get the 100% positive out of each thing. And then the bigger that gap is,
If you fuel properly in between.
right? The bigger that gap is, the better the results are going to be.
Sure.
With understanding recovery, which
Yep.
gets into like lots of complex program design stuff. We have several high caliber runners at the studio,
Mhm.
like fast runners,
Fast.
right? Multiple like long distance marathon fast runners.
Fast.
And they run 3 to 4 days a week,
Mhm.
roughly,
Yep.
sometimes 5 depending on the season.
Yep.
They lift roughly 3 days a week, right? And we always say that you're better off lifting and running in the same day
Yeah.
with a minimum 8 to 12 hour break, and then taking a full rest day the next day.
Yeah.
Instead of doing something 7 days a week to where you never really have a full recovery day,
Mm-hmm.
you're better to pair up an exercise modality, conditioning versus strength, by beginning a day and end of day, and then take the next full day rest off.
Yep.
And then maybe the next day you pick one or the other. And then you could kind of pair up lots of ways of combinations of doing that.
Yeah. But at least having 1 to 2 rest days.
Yeah,
a week
you
in
still
there.
want 1 to 2 full rest days a week. And when we say rest days, we don't mean like sit on the couch all day rest day. We mean like you're not doing intentional hard exercise
Yeah.
on a rest day.
Yeah.
Probably still walking and rolling around and
Yeah.
doing stuff, daily
Mobility,
things.
something.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's if you
But
want to.
not like a hot yoga class or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. Now, do we have a strength and conditioning day at the studio?
Yes.
Yes. Does that mean that it's bad?
No.
No. Right. We're just saying, like, if I'm going to go to the gym 3 days a week
Mm-hmm.
and I want the best results,
Mm-hmm.
well, you have to like be very, very specific about what is my result.
What do you want those results to be?
Right. So if you want to be like, I really want to see my strength improve, I really want to see my muscle mass, I
Mhm.
want to see muscle mass.
Yep.
Okay, and my goal is I want to lose body fat.
Yep.
Well, then I would do 3 days of nothing but lifting and walk every day. Right? Now, if I was like, I don't care, I just want to get an overall general shape,
Mm-hmm.
well, then it doesn't matter. You can do a mix and match.
Yep.
You could go the 3 days you do go, you could do strength and conditioning those 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
But don't expect to be getting wildly better at any of them in a short or long term. You know what I'm saying?
If you're focusing on both.
If you're focusing on both, right? You will marginally get better at both. So if you're thinking,
Yep.
I love doing strength and conditioning in the same day, it makes
Mhm.
me feel good, I enjoy my time, I only have 3 hours a week, then you can do both in the same time,
Mhm.
right? In our world, we generally suggest that you like literally do one half and one the other half.
Mhm.
Not like do bicep curls run around the building, do pull-ups run around the building, like
Right.
mashing them together. The
Mm.
closer you get the two things,
Right.
the less of a positive response you get from them.
Right.
Right. So if you're like every day you come in, if you're doing a combination of like cardio and weight training back and forth, like set to set to set to set,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're brand new to exercise, you're going to see good things in the first 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But 9 months, 18 months, 24 months down the road,
Yeah.
you're not going to be surprised. You're like, man, I'm really not getting better at anything.
Yeah.
Nothing's changing. I'm not getting better at conditioning. I'm not getting stronger. I'm not measurably increasing my muscle mass or decreasing my, body fat percentage.
Right.
Because you're kind of just like muddling the middle over and over and over again.
Yep.
Without getting into like smart training.
Yep. What do I say? Chase 2 squirrels.
Get no nuts.
You get no nuts.
Yeah.
So
There you
I mean,
go.
it's kind of the same thing.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
depends what your goals are.
Right. But yeah, but if somebody has like a huge fat loss goal,
Yeah.
then I
doesn't-
still recommend focusing 100% on nutrition.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Right.
If your number one goal is fat loss, your number one exercise routine needs to be what you can create the most consistency with.
Yeah.
It's not the modality or the type.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, if your number one goal is like body composition, like I literally want to take the fat I have and make it into muscle, you have to be lifting weights heavy with real rest times and spending entire days only lifting weights.
And following a progressive overload plan.
Right. And following progressive overload and making things harder and harder over time.
Yep.
And then sprinkling in some conditioning along
Yeah.
the way
Yeah.
to get in overall better shape.
Because when you say, if my goal is to turn my fat into muscle, that is very specific.
Yeah.
That's like, this,
Yep.
you're like dialing in.
Yeah, but if you're new,
If
it's
you're
not
new,
that.
you can have like,
You can get both at
Yes.
the same time if you're new to fitness.
yeah.
If you've been doing things for a year consistently, 3 days a
Mm-hmm.
week, right?
Right. Like let's say you're going to classes or you're doing something at home, but it's random all the time. And you've
Mhm.
been doing that random for a year.
Mm-hmm. So it's like any modality.
Right. Anything.
Any modality that doesn't have a legit structured strength training in it.
Right.
So that could be
Kickboxing or
kickboxing,
cycling or
Orange Theory, Pilates,
Right.
or whatever version of fitness you
Right.
love.
Yes.
Right. If
Yeah.
you're doing that and it's been a year.
and you got a little, maybe you saw some results at the
Yep.
beginning
Yep.
and you're
Yep.
kind of like at this like plateau, like,
Mhm.
okay, my body is not really changing the way I want to
Mhm.
see it.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
got to dial it in a little bit, and dialing it in a little bit could look like progressive overload, like following a plan.
That would be one of the things to
Yes.
shift. Would be like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not doing any dedicated strength and muscle days now. If I
Yeah.
add in 2 days of dedicated strength and muscle work
Mhm.
compared to my last recipe of every day not having dedicated, that can be enough for your body to want to change its tissue.
Yeah.
Because you're giving it a very specific type of thing to respond to.
Yes.
Right. And if I never have the mechanical tension of heavy load from a muscle to adapt to,
Mm-hmm.
it's never going to care to adapt to it.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yep.
Right. It's basically what that means.
Yep.
So cardio versus strength training. If we look at our ultimate recipe,
Yes.
right, we kind of suggest this like 3 days of lifting,
3 days of lifting.
2 days of cardio,
Yes.
1 day easy, 1 day hard,
Yep.
1 big walk, 1
Yes.
day of rest.
Yep.
This 3-2-1-1 type of like, we've been talking about this for a decade, and that's the recipe we've used to hit new PRs in the gym. We've used that recipe in Flip to prepare for gigantic endurance, multiple like day endurance events, where we said, okay, well, we'll do 3 days a week of conditioning, 2 days of strength training, 1 day of rest,
Yep.
and 1 day of something big and long,
Yep.
right? But we don't think that like we would not, if we wanted to get stronger and get better conditioning, the last thing we would do is spend 5 days a week of doing a strength conditioning workout for 5 days.
Yeah. No.
We would separate them
Yes.
if we wanted more results out of each one of those types of like stimuluses.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes. And if I had a big fat loss goal, the last thing I would do is spend all of my time trying to do more cardio.
Right.
Because I've done that for endurance events and I lost the body composition I was
Exactly.
actually chasing.
Exactly. And that's
Which I love cardio because I
Right.
love endurance events.
Yeah.
But my body composition was not my favorite on any of those events.
Yeah. It's really hard for me. Like
Yeah.
I will lose muscle mass fast if I get in anything longer than like 2 days a week of conditioning.
Yeah.
Especially steady state.
Yeah.
I'll lose it fast. But if I do 1 day a week of like hard intervals, that's
fine.
kind of more anabolic, more like hard,
Yeah.
there's some more different type of like responses. I do 1 big day a week, maybe a second day of moderate,
Mhm.
or 2 days a week, and I'm getting my like 2.5 to 3 sessions in a week of like strength training.
Yeah.
then I can maintain my muscle mass. But anytime I upset that equation to like 3 days of cardio, 1.5 days of strength training, it doesn't matter how much food I eat or don't eat. My muscle mass will start to like disappear because I'm not giving the stimulus.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't care to, because it's like, it's becoming efficient at the other things.
Yeah.
And it thinks, well, if I want to get you better at moving across space for time, over a long time,
Yeah.
the lighter you are, the easier this is going to become.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's my body responding.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I don't want to keep all that stuff.
You want to keep the muscle.
So I need to give it that response.
Yeah. Because I always just ended up looking like softer.
Right.
I mean, you know, in like a term that I feel like people would understand on like my leg muscles weren't showing as much, and like I was just you know,
and that's why that's why in-body data is so important.
Yeah.
Because do you want to become
in photos?
Right. Photos,
if you don't have access to an in-body, like photos are great.
Photos will help a ton. It's like, do you want to become a lighter version of yourself?
Yeah.
Do you want to take up less space in the world? Those are different things than saying, well, I want to see more of my muscles.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Do you want to have like shape and structure to your body? Well, then you're going to need muscle mass to make that happen.
Yeah.
Compared to like, I just want to become a smaller version of myself, which is like into this whole Ozempic world right now, which there's even better drugs coming out that are helping maintain muscle mass. But basically, the Ozempic is like, you lose a ton of weight, but you lose a ton of muscle mass with it. Yeah. Without very specific like introduction to like a higher protein diet and resistance training. Yeah, which is hard.
This isn't really the topic that we're going into, but I think we're starting to get away from it on this like random scale number that we've all kind of like grown up wanting to be 115, 120, whatever it is for people. But sometimes, you know, my lightest, I looked better heavier. Because I have more muscle, but you don't know that until you kind of like
you just have to see the numbers and see the data.
Yeah, and take photos and take a bunch of information and how do you feel and you know, all the things.
Right. Okay. There we go. Cardio versus strength training.
Dun, dun, dun.
So we went over the interference effect, meaning if you want to get better at two different types of stimuluses.
Okay.
Right. You got to pick one and then the other one.
Okay.
It's like saying I want to have tacos and pizza.
Okay.
But you always have a taco pizza.
Okay. You're like, not really getting either one.
I'm not really getting tacos. I'm not really getting pizza. I'm just getting a taco pizza. Well, if you go weeks after week after week of taco pizzas, eventually you're going to be like, man, why don't I ever have like the feeling of having really good tacos?
Okay.
Because you never do.
Yeah.
Right? So it's your decision. Do I want to live with taco pizzas? Because I love them? Great. But if you're like, I want more tacos, I want more pizza, well, you need to separate the two.
Okay.
Strength and conditioning.
Strength and conditioning.
And that's basically where that comes out to. Fat loss, there is positives combining them if you combine them with a higher frequency.
Okay.
Not literally at the same time.
Got it.
Okay?
Yes.
And then, so that's the interference effect. If you want the results from conditioning, results from strength training, muscle training, you need at least 6 hours between training sets. Okay. Now,
for you to benefit the most from both,
there is a huge benefit for consolidation of time. If you're like, I want to do both, I only have 2 hours a week to do anything.
Okay.
And you do a mixture of one day and a mixture of the two the other day, right? That'll sustain your progress for a long time when you're talking about all progress, not just fat loss progress.
Okay.
So
but if you have
help.
To do them in the same day, in the same hour, you would typically do strength and then end with conditioning.
Typically.
Not do them at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, typically. I would always prioritize the harder thing which is the strength training and muscle training. And then I would do. And there's really no data supporting that the combination, the order of them gets better results. I just think that I always have a better lifting session. And then I do cardio stuff. I always feel the best compared to if I do cardio and then lifting.
You're kind of like depleted
I'm kind of like,
at that point.
yeah, I will get a better cardio. So it's really which one do you want more of? Do you want to get better at cardio? We'll do it first. If you want to get better at strength training, we'll do it first. Yeah. Right. So you can go back and forth and play with it. But at some point, you need to separate those two. Okay. So it's not a bad thing to compare them together. And those can be fun days. All right. So we went over interference effect, 6 hours minimum between what?
One more time. Interference effect.
Interference effect.
Give me like just a short outline.
Interference effect. Okay. That's doing the same thing at the same time. Make a break of 6 hours between the different stimuluses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fat loss
Mm-hmm.
is about high frequency of movement and exercise and high frequency of steps with a management of calories,
Mm-hmm.
not one or the other,
Sure.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to get the benefits from the two things, separate them as much as possible, as often as possible.
Like if you have to do the same thing or you want to do both in the same day, separate them by at least 6 hours.
Yep, ideally.
But preferably a day apart.
Right.
And still prioritize 1 to 2 rest days a week.
Right. If you're on the other end, it doesn't matter. If you're in of like, I'm just going to get 2 hours of exercise in a week, it doesn't matter.
Get what you can.
Yeah. And then the last thing, don't think that by lifting weights and making it cardio, it's going to increase the results of either. It actually decreases the results of both. Right.
Got it.
There
Tricky.
you go. Okay. I think that's good.
Yeah.
You think anything else
Yeah. No.
wild about that? Okay. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe if you got to this point. A little bit shorter. Another one about 40 minutes.
Oh,
That's
good.
a little
31
better. Got
minutes.
it. Okay. If you have any questions about cardio versus strength, drop them below.
Yes.
Otherwise, go send Danny_Prevail a message, DMs, or Prevail _strength on Instagram.
Yes.
Prevail Strength and Fitness.
We love comments and messages.
Love comments and messages. If you want us to go into more details about the things we talked about today, please comment below and be like, hey, would you explain more about blankety blank?
Yeah.
And we'll dive into it.
Yeah.
But we hope you feel more confident about how to choose your path going
What's going to
forward.
work best for you for your
and
results.
the real results, like the actual results from combining those two things together, not what we like is marketed to us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or how we feel sometimes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bye.